Yes, we are live, and I always recognize it when we have our first very punctual attendees, which is really great. So, hello everyone, and thank you for joining us for a very special webinar. Actually, I always say each webinar is really special, but today already I've been working with MyGermanUniversity for a year, and I have hosted subject webinars in all different fields, but for the first time ever, I am doing a webinar or moderating or co-hosting a webinar together in the field which is really close to me, because I studied international relations, global governance, and social theory, and finally I can follow everything that speakers can say. And I'm really, really happy and excited, and I will be listening carefully to all the details of all programs, as you will be, since maybe I can reapply to my master again. So for those who don't know me or forgot my name is Nino. And as you know, I was also an international student in Germany, did master in the same field that you would like to do. So welcome to the club. And I'm really happy to share my own insights and share the details about studying, about coming to Germany, some other things like visa, maybe scholarships as well, because to some extent I have the knowledge. However, today we really encourage you to post your questions directed to the study programs, because not every day professors have time to answer your questions in person, especially again in the middle of a semester. Everyone is super busy, and they found time to be here today and join and present their programs personally. So it's great pleasure, and I'm very happy to be part of it. So since we have 5 special guests today, I won't take long, and I will ask Sibe to have a short introduction about herself and MyGermanUniversity, so that we can go to the best part of today's presentation super quickly.
Yep. So hello everyone, again, welcome to today's webinar. So just like Nino, I'm super excited about today's subject webinar because I also am doing my master programs in international relations. Love to have a political discussion over beer or something, which you'll find out once you arrive in Germany that it's actually a thing. So before going into our topic today, I just would like to tell you a little bit more about MyGermanUniversity, what we offered, and how we could potentially help you with applying as well as studying in Germany. So first thing first, once you get on our website, you will find on the left-hand side our study finder. So this is the largest database of English taught study programs that we have made. So if you are trying to study in English in Germany, this would be a great place to start to look for programs you might be interested in. You could play around with the filters to see what might suit you the best, from the public university to the private one, or depending on the cities you want to study in. So if you're not sure what kind of programs you want to apply to, this would be a good place to get a head start and, start looking for things you might be interested in. So in terms of the more broader relevant topics of studying in Germany, we also have more than 70 articles written by either students who have studied in Germany or people who have worked in German higher education systems. And it covers various topics from, degree evaluations to scholarship or how to apply via UniAssist, so that you can, look into the things that you might want to know a little bit more about. Last but not least, if you want something more interactive, we also have weekly webinars that we offered for free, like the one today. So we have 2 types of webinars, one on the more general topics. So COVID-19 scholarship, all the aspects about studying in Germany, as well as the subject webinars where we would be inviting guests from university programs to talk about these specific programs. So make sure you check out our webinar page as well to see if you would find something interesting as well. So essentially, these are the three main things that we offer right now. The study finder, where you can look for the programs, the articles, as well as the webinars. So the last thing is just a little bit more about our team. So we are a tech company based in Hamburg, Germany, but our staff are from literally everywhere in the world. That's why we are also able to offer webinars and counselings in several languages as well. So if you have any questions, comments, whatnot, feel free to reach us on our Facebook, Instagram page, or just simply shoot us an email. We will get back to you with your questions as soon as we can. So yeah, I think that is it from my side. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed today's webinar.
Yeah, I'm sure everyone will enjoy because not every day we have 5 programs also presenting. Thank you, Sibe, very much for a nice introduction. One last thing that I would like to add is that please follow the chat. Those who are joining or watching us on Facebook, we will be also sharing the links later on in comment section. You can also post your questions in comment section of under the video. And for those who are joining us from Zoom, you are very welcome to use the Q&A section in your Zoom bar, where you can post your questions. And we highly recommend to mention the program name so that it's easier for us and also for speakers to give you the best possible answer. All right, so I promise to make everything short. Therefore, let me give you a short overview of our wonderful speakers, which you already see on your screen and now on a slide. Actually, today I have 2 slides of speakers, which is really nice. All right, I will introduce all of them individually. However, before that, as an addition to what Sibe said about databases, I would like to mention another database, which is Hochschulkompass, and it's offered by German Rectors Conference, where you can find all the programs which are taught in German, and some of them which are also taught in English. So if you check the numbers, there are 453 degrees for programs in spheres of philosophy or political science. Only 58 out of them are in English. But the ones who are brave enough to study political science in German, then you are very welcome to use this database as well. For the others, like I, for example, who studied political or international relations in English, there you can use the database which Sibe has already introduced to you, which you can see in the background of my screen. And this is our study finder. We will be sharing a link to that also in chat. So please, if you feel that you will need these links, make sure to copy them. So compared to the Hochschulkompass, in our database, there are 128 degree programs in the same field, which is much more. And we have even a division here. All right. One more thing is that if you are a newcomer or you are just deciding if you want to study political science at all, and you want to know an overview, what does a subject mean in Germany or how it is taught, what are the rankings, tuition fees, general application and admission requirements. Of course, each program has its own requirements regarding all the details. However, to have an overview for that, we also have subject pages. In this case, there are 2 subject pages, one for political science, another for philosophy. So you can have a look and maybe check to see if you like it at all or not. But we hope that you do. I have also mentioned the rankings. Rankings are important for some students, for others not so much. A general advice from my side will be that since you are the decision maker, you should be the one who creates his or her own ranking, because there might be some different criteria which are important to you. For example, maybe tuition fees, or maybe location, maybe some specific program, even professor which you want, like whose classes or seminars you would like to attend. So decide if you want to only be guided by rankings, or better, decide which program is best fit for you according to your own needs. So decision is up to you. And very roughly about division of universities in Germany or the landscape. So professors are here and they may correct me if I'm wrong. However, roughly saying there are two big types of universities in Germany. First is universities, including technical universities. The other one is universities of applied sciences. And both types of these universities do have programs in political science. The first one had 99, the other one 23. So there are options if you would like to apply to specifically University of Applied Sciences or Technical University or so on, you can choose from there as well. And the filters are available on our study finder. Why do we mention it and what's the biggest difference? There not so much. How there was a difference about PhD programs earlier, which is not relevant anymore. However, the biggest difference is how they teach or what is the teaching oriented. So universities are more research or theory oriented, roughly saying. Of course, it depends on the program. Meanwhile, universities of applied sciences are more practice or application oriented. All right. And as for the naming or how you can find programs related to political science, of course, all of you knows it. Just as a reminder, not always all programs are called Bachelor Political Science or Master in Political Science. There can be variations, wording can be different. So yeah, here are on the slide some of the examples which are from the field of political science or philosophy. And yes, I did my promise and I made everything short. So I'm very pleased to welcome our first speaker, Dr. Patricia Schneider, who is degree program coordinator and will be talking about Master in Peace and Security Studies from University of Hamburg. Here we have a small map from so that you know where are you going next semester, hopefully, which is actually not too far from my place. I'm in Bremen right now, so Hamburg is really close. So maybe if you are going to Hamburg, we can even meet. All right, let me stop sharing my screen and Dr. Schneider, the floor is yours. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nino, for inviting me and having me here. It's a pleasure for me to introduce the Master Program Peace and Security Studies to you. I work at the Institute for Peace Research and Security at the University of Hamburg. And let me just share my screen. And this program is a collaboration of the IFSH, the University of Hamburg, and a cooperation network of several institutions, which I will introduce to you in a minute. So let me first give you some general information on the master program, then some more on the contents and objectives, on the structure, give you insights. I will give you some insights on the nationalities of students, our cooperation partners network, and then finally sum it up with 5 reasons to choose this master program. So let me start with the general information. In comparison to the other programs which you will be introduced today, our program is a bit different because it's currently only a 2-semester program, so a 1-year program. But it will change soon to a 4-semester program starting next winter. So if you apply for the next term in winter, you will apply for a 4-semester program. However, we still provide a 1-year track if you can bring 240 university credits. This could be, for example, if you have a 4-year bachelor, or if you have a 3-year bachelor and a master degree, or if you have a master degree and a PhD. There are several options for that. However, to know whether your degree is recognized in Germany and with how many years, I recommend to check the ANABIN website. So it could be, for example, that you have made a 4-year bachelor degree program at your university, but that it's only recognized as a 3-year program in Germany because they might think it wasn't as intense as we would expect it to be. If you cannot find your program there, you can contact Annabin directly as well. For our application process, we have a large Q&A section where you can read all the details, but watch out for the updated call for applications in January. And of course, you can always consult the MyGermanUniversity website. Our new application phase will probably start in February until mid-March. And currently, we only have a digital application process. And after you hand in, or after you put in your data in our portal, which collects your data, you have to apply via our website and our portal, not the University of Hamburg website. And after that phase, after we collect all applications, we will then select who we will invite for interviews and essay, to then finally select who we want to invite to study in our program. And we usually have 25 to 30 students. So to give you some context to our program, it's the first of its kind in Germany, if you look at peace studies. And this year, it's our 20th anniversary. So the students who study at the moment are the 20th cohort of students who study with us. So that's quite an achievement. And we are also still the only ones who combine peace research and security policy research. We try to be a very practice-oriented program. And another special feature of our program is that we are very interdisciplinary, meaning that we have modules following different disciplines from a bigger variety than most programs might get to know, meaning that we have a module from natural sciences, which mainly concentrates on arms control and emerging technologies, from political science, on peace research and security policy, from peace ethics, so from the direction of philosophy, from economics, for example, on war economy, sanctions, and from peace and from law, peace and conflict law. And you would then choose 2 focus modules, which you would study more intensively and combine it the way which suits you best. Our program is not only international because of the partners we have, which I will show you in a moment, but also because of the students we have. But nevertheless, both languages are required to study our program, German and English, because we think that if you use your year in Germany, or your 2 years then in Germany, and to also improve your German skills, then you have an asset which will strengthen your profile as an applicant afterwards when you apply in Germany or in the international forum. So our goal is to attract highly qualified graduates from all disciplines, this is also quite different from many other programs. For example, for some programs, you would need to study social sciences. I have studied social sciences, but we also accepted in the past engineers, medical doctors, biologists, media experts. What is important for us is that you link your previous studies and your professional experience to our master program and to your future professional aspirations. So when you write your motivation letter, convince us why with your background you are suitable and you would profit from this program. And we think that having students from various backgrounds, from what they have studied, from what they have done professionally, is really an asset to the whole group, so that you can learn from each other and that we can learn from you and collaborate to find different solutions for problems. So the course contents are still theory-based because it's a university program in the area of peace research and security policy, but we also try practical application of research methods to prepare you to either for the field of research and teaching or for the professional fields like working in international organizations, national ones, administrations, NGOs, media, and so on, depending on what you have done. So let's have a short look at our structure. So we always start with the 2 weeks introductory course into the modules before you choose them. Then you choose 2 of the 5 offered modules. And then in the future structures, instead of having 1 semester, we have 3 semesters then for studying and for internships. And then you will spend 1 full semester at one of our cooperation partners. So you will choose one of the research institutes after they introduce their current projects and work with them, like doing first an internship, then working for a certain project, and then developing your masterpieces and writing your masterpieces there, supervised at that institute and also with an external supervisor. What we also offer study trips in the beginning to Berlin to visit all the German institutions which are relevant also for political consulting. And then in the second semester, we want to show you how international organizations work and want to visit them, like to Vienna to visit OCE and United Nations, or to Brussels to visit NATO and EU. To give you a short impression of the nationalities of our students, you find this slide. We aim for 50% of international students and of course 50% of male and female, but there is no quota for this. So when we have the application process, the best people get the study places, no matter what nationality, gender, or they have. It's all about qualifications. So that's why each year we have different nationalities and different study backgrounds of the students who then do the master program. Altogether, we have 18 cooperation partners in our network. And I told you that the program is already 20 years old. So then when we started the program together, the idea behind it was that we do not have enough young scholars. We do not have enough staff for this important area of peace and security, and that we have to contribute to educate people to have more in the future. And that's why all these partners contribute to the teaching, but also contribute spaces for doing the Master of Thesis research at the institutions. And they don't get any monetary advantage for this. They don't get any money for this. They just do it because they're convinced that the program is good. And many of them recruited some of the alumni later on. Also at my institution at IFSH, we have quite a few alumni working there, still working here. And the partners we have are several are in Hamburg. A few are also in other cities in Germany. And then we also have a few partners outside of Germany. For example, in Norway at the Eichstätt-Ingolstadt University in Tromsø, we have St. Andrews in Scotland. We have the Kennesaw State University in the United States of America, close to Atlanta. And we have 2 partners in Vienna in Austria. So if you like, you do not have to spend the whole study time in Germany. You can also go to one of our partners, depending on your research topics. So to sum up, you need both German and English skills. You can only start at the winter semester when you come to us, and there will be no tuition fees. There will be a small administrative fee for the University of Hamburg, but this also includes the public transport ticket for Hamburg, which is quite convenient. So let me close with the 5 reasons to choose our program. So it's unique because it combines peace and security topics, and because it's so interdisciplinary that it has a quite broad view, including these areas such as international law, peacekeeping and conflict, peace research and natural sciences, peace ethics, and political security economics. From our experience, our alumni have very good career prospects. We also have an alumni association who supports our fresh students, so to say, and we always invite alumni in our teaching program so that you can see what their career paths were and what could be your future. You gain a lot of practical experience in doing your research phase at one of our institutions. for example, and you study at the University of Excellence. So meaning Hamburg is not only the most beautiful city of Germany, even if some of my colleagues might contradict now. I'm sure that the people of MyGerman University offices could confirm this, with the beautiful port and lake in the city and a very rich cultural life. But now Hamburg is also a University of Excellence. That means that the federal government of Germany gives special funds to strong research institutions. And I give you one example. One example would be, for example, is the Excellence Cluster of Climate Research. And we contribute to this cluster on the question of climate research and security, and the security nexus. And finally, you can benefit of the field trips to the main German and international institutions, like to the Bundestag in Berlin, or the OSCE headquarters in Vienna, or the European Parliament in Brussels. I will be happy to answer your questions now in the next session, and if that's not possible, here are the contact details if you want to contact us later on. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much for this great presentation. I already see someone wants to apply to universities in Hamburg, but I maybe double check which program is the question referred to. Is it general universities or this particular program? So we will find it out. Meanwhile, I will be collecting the questions for the upcoming Q&A. And right now, I would like to introduce our second very special guest, who is Brian Mathebula, program representative from Master in Analysis and Design of Social Protection System. So really interesting, sounds really interesting. He's from Hochschule Bonn-Rhein-Sieg. Again, you have a map traveling around throughout Germany. So the decision is up to you. Where are you going? And yeah, Brian, the floor is yours. We are really happy to have you today.
Okay, thank you for the platform, Nina, and also thank you, Professor Schneider, for the great presentation. Looks like a fantastic option as well. So what I'm going to do now is speak about our program, the Master in Analysis and Design of Social Protection System, which is based in St. Augustine, but we mainly like to say we're in Bonn, which is easier to find as compared to St. Augustine. So I'm just going to upload my presentation. As I said, we are based in St. Augustine. The name of the program is Master in Analysis and Design of Social Protection System. As compared to our previous colleague, we are actually quite a young program. We are 5 years into the program, which means we are into the 5th cohort of our students, which we'll speak to a little bit in detail later. So what is the focus of this presentation? I just want to focus on why would one want to study a master in social protection. Then we'll also take a look at the master program at a glance. And also we focus on how we blend face-to-face and online learning, as well as provide a background of our students, just a brief overview. We'll also then just highlight where our students undertake their internships, as well as highlight on the 5 years and the alumni questionnaire that we did this year, which just gave us an indication where our students are at the moment and what they're doing. Now, why would one be interested in studying social protection? Now, I think the current global pandemic has highlighted the need for social protection for everyone. And what we have seen internationally is that everyone is vulnerable, and the lack of adequate social protection systems put everybody at a position where they cannot look after themselves at an individual and on a household level. So the need for social protection systems to be put in place is quite important. And our master program focuses especially on designing these social protection systems. Now, what do we mean by social protection? Social protection means protecting our most vulnerable members of society and adapting social systems to the crisis and eradicating poverty. Our master program is an interdisciplinary master program that aims to provide students with the tools to analyze social protection systems and to educate our students how to design improved and sustainable sustainable system to mitigate the effects of precarious change. Now, what is quite important to note about our program is that it is heavily focused on students coming from the global south, hence the focus on social protection. So a lot of our students come with social protection experience, as well as a lot of our students come from backgrounds where they actually are working in social protection fields. So we'll speak to that specifically, especially when we look at our requirements or the prerequisite for studying in the program. So it's a master degree, 120 credits as at the Bonn-Rhein-Sieg University of Applied Science. As compared to other programs in Germany, you do not need German. English is fine with us. The campus is in St. Augustine. It's a 4-semester program. I'll get more into the specifics in terms of like how these semesters are broken down. And we also start in the winter semester. Now, in terms of the prerequisite to be able to apply, we do require that you have a bachelor's degree from a relevant academic field. So basically, when you go on our website, there's specified areas or bachelor's degree of which qualify to study in the program, as well as our admissions committee also provide information should you be interested in the program, where you can ask for information whether your degree qualifies to study in our program. What we also look for is relevant work experience. As I said, we are quite a very focused program, so we do require students to have 5 months of work experience, which includes unpaid internships, voluntary work in a field related to social protection. Now, in terms of, like I said, the program is undertaken in English, so we do require a level of English proficiency. So all applicants, especially if you're not a native speaker or your program was not undertaken in English, you would need to provide your what you call a TOEFL or the C1 level English exam. As well as one of the requirements is that you have to write a proposal. So we also allows us to also establish whether there is a link between you wanting to study in this program and your research interest proposal. So that, yeah. And then, as well as amongst our students, as of last year, 10 students every cohort are on full DAD scholarship. You can find more information on our program website. So these DAD scholarships come and join us in the winter semester, but they get their scholarship at the beginning of every year in March. And then they attend German classes, and then they can come here early if they wish. But last year, because of the global pandemic, they did German in their home country. Then during the practical semester, the DAD also pays for the students to undertake a practical semester, which means it's an internship anywhere around the world, whether it be, but it has to be in a global south. It could be in your home country, it could be in a neighboring country that shares developing country characteristics. So every year there's 10 scholarships that are awarded to students. Now, as I said, our program blends face-to-face and online learning. As I indicated, is that we generally target students who have practical experience. So what we do have is that we generally get a lot of students that come and say, I've actually been working in an area of social protection, but I'd like to learn a bit more. So we get people that work in international development, such as your USA, GIZ, DFID, and all of that, to say, I work in this region, I work in the MENA region, I work in the South American region or African region, but I'd like to learn more about social protection. So what this blended face-to-face and online allows them to do is that allows them to take a 6 months off from work to come in the first semester to be with us face-to-face. And then what we do have then in the second semester is that it's online, it's purely online. And then, as I said, although the program has a heavy focus on students with heavy social protection experience, but that's not necessarily the case with all the students. We do have some students that have limited experience. So What then happens in the third semester is that for students that do not need a practical semester or do not wish to undertake an internship, what they can do is that they can go straight into their master thesis. So they can skip the practical semester or the internship semester and start working on the internship semester, on their master thesis. Now, in terms of the actual course, I don't want to go into detail, but as you can see, is interdisciplinary. We also have quite a bit of focus for students at the beginning who don't have a background in economics, statistics, academic writing, as well as German language, should they wish. So the idea here is that by the time they get into the more deeper into some of the programs that require some of the technical skills, such as financing, modeling, and social protection management, that they have the prerequisite skills. We also have in the third semester, or between the second and third semester, students can choose to specialize in an area in social protection. So basically, our students can either specialize, you can choose subjects such as I want to specialize in climate change, you could specialize in vulnerability, you could specialize in health, as well as specialize in migration studies. Sorry, as I indicated, so the first semester, this is one of our cohorts. The students are face-to-face. They come to campus in Bonn. They attend class face-to-face. We start with the pre-courses, and it's quite an intense program. So we have 9 till 4 o'clock on a Monday to Friday. It's quite intense for the first 6 months. And then the students, they can either decide after 6 months whether they want to stay in Germany. Those who need to go back to work can attend classes in the online semester from their home countries. Now, in terms of the second semester, I just provided just a brief on the left-hand side image of the actual page for your online semester. What you'd have there is a bridge between a lot of use of video and other online platforms provide the education. But what's quite fundamental here, as I indicated earlier, is that it allows for flexibility in the second semester. As I said, we generally tend to bring a lot of students that have practical experience. We bring a lot of students, especially from Africa, that have been sent by the national governments, especially departments of social development, departments of finance, where it's very specific for them to come learn a particular skill, especially as we see the growth in social protection interventions and the need for such skills. So, as well as the online semester as well allows us to also broaden or widen the circle of lectures that we have. So if you are attending in the program, you are also likely to be taught by a university professor from Maastricht, from the University of the Witwatersrand in South Africa, or University of Ghana that focuses on health expansion, health coverage in low-income countries, as well as other ILO, WHO aspects that come in on a short-term base to provide a very specific social protection focus area teaching. So, but we also, what also is quite useful for a lot of the students, as I said, is the ability to also quite have a collaborative learning. And we also find that some of the students have met on different platforms, which is this also is enhanced in the program. So as I said, our students generally come with a bit of a background in social protection, but that's not always necessarily the case. Now, currently, this is what a typical week would look like. This is from October. So what you could see here is very heavy, very specific models that take place on an everyday basis. Obviously, this year, because of the global pandemic, although 90% of our students are in Germany, but because the university wasn't quite clear in terms of like the COVID protocols, we were forced to undertake our classes online again until the university gave us a surety in terms of like what needs to take place. But this is what it would look like on a day-to-day basis. How am I doing for time? Am I still fine? I think I have 2 more slides and then I'll wrap it.
No problem. Thank you.
Okay, fantastic. So on the left-hand side, we have our annual visit to Brussels, where our students get an opportunity to go to Brussels and engage with the different EU bodies. And this is at a meeting with the International Trade Union there. But just generally, we do have quite a large group of students. On average, we have between 35 to 50 students. The one year we had 50 students, but a significant proportion of our students come from Africa, Latin America, as well as Asia. Not a lot come from Europe, but what we've seen in this year's group is that we have 6 German students, which is quite a new development, but a lot of them, as I said, come from a background of having worked in international organizations such as the GIZ or the DIE. Yeah, in terms of like, yes, just a brief outline on in 2019 groups. As I said, we have a significant number of students come from government, international organizations, NGOs, and private organizations, and some from religious organizations that have had obviously a focus on social protection. And now, just briefly, in terms of like, where do our students do their internship? In the last 3 years, we've had students, and some of the internships are formalized, and some of them are on an application basis. But we have had students undertake internships at the ILO, at the International Social Security Agency, the German Development Agency, and the GIZ. And on the GIZ perspective, is quite useful. GIZ's got a footprint in a lot of these countries. So what is quite useful in most instances is that students can apply for internship at a GIZ and can be able to do the internship in their home country. We also have a lot of students at the UNFCCC, as well as, because that's also located in Bonn. And since we also have a specialization in climate change, it's quite useful for the UNFCCC in terms of like bringing students that also understand the bridge between social protection as well as climate change. And we've had students also undertake internships at the World Health Organization and the Climate Center. As I said, a lot of it is quite linked to some of the specializations that we offer as part of the program. Now, just to finish off, this year we also try to just get a gleam of what our current students are doing, and we also had quite a high response rate. What we see is that obviously some of them are, a significant number of them are also quite pursuing their PhDs, and we also see students working in international organizations. We also have students that are in the private sector, especially those that are looking at working in areas of public and private insurance. We also have students that are obviously job seeking at the moment, but it's quite a diverse group, and it also shows that you can also work in different areas once you complete your studies. I think in the interest of time, just to also leave most time for questions, I'll just leave it here, and maybe also take the opportunity to thank everyone for listening in. And yeah, thank you, Nina, as well, for allowing us the opportunity to come here and just share our study program.
Thank you very much. It's our pleasure, and I don't dare interrupting anyone, because, as I said, the programs presented today are in my great interest. So I'm noting down things for myself as well as a student. Thank you very much again for the presentation. There are some questions which I already noted down, but let us give the floor to our another wonderful speaker so that we have all the presentations done. Could you please stop sharing the screen so that, yeah, thank you very much. And yes, I'm very happy, and it's my pleasure again to present another great speaker, who is Hendrikje Grunow, Program Coordinator for Master Conflict Memory and Peace. On the left side of the slide, you can see the university outlook. And on the right side of the university, again, a small map. The speaker will say where the university is located better than I do, but so that you know again where your future university is, you can see it here. So thank you for your time, and the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. I'm going to start sharing the PowerPoint, and hope you do now see it in presentation. Yes, so a warm welcome from me and from the Catholic University in Eichstätt-Ingolstadt. As you have seen, we're quite in the middle between Munich and Nuremberg on the German landscape. And yeah, so Eichstätt may not be familiar to you. It is a rather small Bavarian city, but nevertheless, it does have a very nice university infrastructure, which is why I want to start by presenting the KU a little bit more in detail to you. So the KU is the only Catholic university in the German-speaking world. Nevertheless, it is state approved and therefore equivalent to other public German universities. And it also has a very cosmopolitan character. So we do warmly welcome people of all backgrounds, all faiths, and people without religious beliefs. So it's more in the name and in the mission statement than it is in, of course, it's also visible in the profile of our students, but it's not something that is a must or that should in any way like stop you from applying. The KU is also as one of the smaller German universities. We have approximately 5,000 students. That is to say, we also have a great supervision ratio because we have very small classes and a very familiar atmosphere, which is always an advantage if you want to get a connection to your professors and like have a very close relationship to your supervisors. We have also been rated Germany's best university in 2021 on the Study Check portal. We're pretty proud of this recognition because it represents the opinion of our students. And as such a small university, it is obviously a lot to say that we, as a small university, made this. Also, the KU is promoting social commitment, sustainable development, and family friendliness as our core values at the university. Within this program, we find the master degree in conflict, memory, and peace. The MA program is an interdisciplinary study program in the field of peace and conflict studies. Interdisciplinarity is really interdisciplinary in our case. That is to say that you will be studying in areas such as diverse as political sciences, law, theology, of course, social work, Romance languages, anthropology, history, and a few others. So you can see it's a really broad spectrum, and we really try to have a broad perspective and a comprehensive perspective on peace and conflict studies. The MA Conflict, Memory, and Peace, furthermore, is binationally designed. That is to say, you will study 1 year in Eichstätt and 1 year in Colombia at the Universidad del Rosario in Bogota. The MA is also a dual degree. That is to say that after studying 2 years at both universities, you will get 2 degrees, one from the KU and one from the Colombian partner university. Which is why our program languages are English and Spanish. So you do not need to know German when applying. We do encourage you to learn German during your first year, but it's not a requirement upon application. English and Spanish, however, are, but I will get to this in just a second. Our focus areas are transitional justice, memory, and post-conflict societies. And as you can see from the binational design, we have a particular focus on Latin America and particularly Colombia with its current and still relatively fresh recent peace process. We try to focus on transitional justice, as I said, from a very interdisciplinary perspective. And For example, the memory component, so collective memory, cultural memory studies is a special component on our master's program, which you will not find in other programs from the same field. We educate our students in competences in research, of course, but also in intercultural competences and practical experience through an obligatory internship, which takes place in the second year, that is to say, preferably in Colombia, but other Latin American countries are also always an option, as long as, of course, the internship is relevant to the program that is related to the course contents. We also are in the very fortunate position that we can offer 12 DAAD scholarships for the second year in Colombia. We currently have 20 spots for the program in total, and we can offer 12 scholarships for the year abroad. Please keep in mind that these scholarships do not apply for the first year in Germany. Yes. So to give you a broad overview of the course of studies, as I said, the first year, so the first and second semester, the blue ones on this overview are taken at the KU in Eichstätt-Ingolstadt. As you can see, you see the interdisciplinary profile in the outline. We have security studies, we have conflict theories, we have conflict resolution and transformation, which is a social work module. We have historical peace and conflict studies, international law research, qualitative methods, and we have memory, forgiveness, reconciliation, which is offered by the theology department. And all these should give you a rather broad overview. In the second year, the third and fourth semester, our students will be studying at the Universidad del Rosario in Bogotá, and will take their elective modules there. These are usually offered from a broad course catalog in the humanities and social sciences, but can also be taken in law, for example, because the Universidad del Rosario is very famous for its law department in Colombia. So that is also always an option. There is also a slightly stronger focus on matters of gender, for example, in the Colombian elective modules. So there are always also options to put individual focus on specific, like, preferred themes in the electives. There's also a module on peace and conflict in Colombia, because of course we're using the opportunity to show our students a peace process in practice. And since the Colombian experiences have been have a long history with peace and conflict and peace processes, we like to, of course, put this focus on in the module as well. As I said, also the internship and the master's thesis will be done in Colombia. The supervision of the thesis is always combined between the two universities. So our students have one supervisor in Bogotá and the other one in Eichstätt. Yes. So what are the career prospects? I may have to mention as well that the MA Conflict, Memory and Peace is also a rather young program. So we're in our fourth year by now. That is to say, we do not have a huge number of graduates. Nevertheless, we do know where they intend to apply, and this is the field I am outlining here. So due to its international, interdisciplinary and binational profile, our graduates are qualified to apply to a number of different fields, among them, of course, NGOs, national and international organizations or governmental bodies, universities and other academic institutions, museums and memorial sites, political foundations and think tanks, media, social work, of course, and many others, really. Yes. The application and enrollment requirements. Our application is rather late for the German system, so you can apply until July 1st in 2022 to start on October 1st in 2022. To do so, you do need a bachelor's degree in the humanities, social sciences, or law with an average of 2.5 of the German grade scale. I put that in brackets because we're currently trying to change that norm. And if you're lucky, we have changed it by July 1st. That is to say that we do know that many international students sometimes have a difficulty reaching this average, which is why we're trying to lower it. Yeah, but as I said, we're in the process, so maybe check our application site in the process. Language-wise, we require our students to know English and Spanish, at least on the B2 level of the European reference frame, and that is by time of application. So you do need to know English and Spanish at the time you're applying. As I said, German is not a requirement upon application, but you do need an A2, which is an advanced beginner's level at the end of the second semester. So that's, I would say, doable, but it's of course an additional, an additional task to keep in mind that you might be experiencing during the first year of study. And the fourth requirement is that you pass our interview, which is to get to know you as a candidate and understand your profile and your experiences and desires for your future and for your fit to the program. Yes, if you want to know further, if you would like to have further information on the program, you can of course always contact me. My name is Hendrikje Grunow and I'm the coordinator at the KU. But as I said, our students also go to Columbia, and we also have students starting in Columbia who come to Germany in their second year. So we're actually in that sense binational, that students start at the same time in Germany and Columbia, and after 1 year they change spots. So if starting in Columbia would be interesting or an option for you, you may also contact our coordinator in Bogota, Laura Barrios-Sabogal. Also, you can find more information on the homepage, which I understand is already in the chat. And you can, of course, also contact the international office, who are always happy to welcome international students and help them during their application and enrollment process. That would be everything from myself for now, and I thank you very much for your attention, and I'm looking forward to your questions.
Thank you very much. Just as a follow-up, because we also see a slide, one student is having a battery issue, so maybe we can provide this answer right now because he was also leaving. First of all, the information was super detailed, and thank you very much for this. I should have put 2 maps, actually, my bad. But anyways, the question was, how long does it take to get the hopefully acceptance or admission answer after applying?
At the MA Conflict, Memory and Peace?
Yeah.
Usually it takes like a month. We're usually done by the end of July.
Oh, so
mid-August latest, really.
All right. And just one more thing is about the relevance of work experience or its importance in terms of improving or GPA. Is it is it okay to have work experience, or is it a must?
It is, of course, always a good idea to have work experience. We do take it into account in the application process and are happy to speak about it during the interview.
All right, thank you very much. I will continue collecting the questions, and meanwhile, the list of our special guests continues, and I'm again very happy to present our Professor Dr. Joachim Schild, who is Professor of Political Science and Comparative Government Studies at University of Hamburg, and he will be presenting Master in European and East Asian Governance. Again, a small map here to see the location of the university, international outlook of the university, and I'm really looking forward to the presentation. Professor, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I'm glad to be with you and to be given the opportunity to present our program, our Master on European and East Asian Governance. It's a quite young program. It's in its 5th year. We have the 5th cohort right now. We started back in 2017 with this program. And I'm going to share my screen, hoping that it will work. That should be the right one. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yeah, always wonderful. Thank you.
Fine. Then let me ask and answer a number of questions. Why to study this program? Why at Trier University? And finally, as the other speakers also did, how do I get in? What are the basic requirements to join us? Let me start with the first question, why to study this program? I think when we set up the program some 6-7 years ago, when we started to think about it, we thought about unique program features that we wanted to have. And one is that we do not have area studies of only one region, but of two. That provides for the opportunity to compare two key world regions in terms of political weight. These are heavyweights, of course, these regions, and economic clout and weight, and to study, besides a comparative perspective, the link between those two regions, their relationships, political and economic relationships. And I do not know about any other program, English-speaking program, covering these two regions from a political science perspective and international relations perspective. That's another unique selling point, so to say, of our program. We made the deliberate choice not to set up an interdisciplinary program. We have a law module in that as a kind of second discipline coming into this program, but we wanted to have a political science / international relations or international political economy program, which gives it a distinctive flavor, if you want. And another specificity of that program is that it is overall quite policy oriented. It's not heavily theory oriented, nor dealing mainly with politics issues, but we are looking not only, but that's a major emphasis, at policies and the governance of different policy fields in those two regions. By the way, when I speak of East Asia as the second region besides the European Union, we are mainly talking about China, the big elephant in the room, so to say, not exclusively, and there's room for students to pick up other examples, other countries from East Asia or from other parts of Asia to work on. But in terms of teaching, the main emphasis with regard to East Asia is on China. As the others explained as well, we do not ask for tuition fees, except for students who add a second MA to a first one that they followed or completed elsewhere. That's a rare case. But besides this case, you do not have to pay tuition fees, just an administrative fee of, I think, something like 250 euros per semester, which allows you to use public transportation and get access to some facilities on campus and around. Okay, we are a highly international program. Currently, we have roughly 80%, almost 80% of students from outside Germany. They come from all over the place, from very different regions. A certain emphasis or certain overrepresentation perhaps given to Asia, but not that much to East Asia. We have a student from Singapore, for instance, or South Korea. And Singapore shows you already that Southeast Asia is among the countries where the participants come from. But overall, we had so far in these 5 years, people coming from 25 different countries, from Latin America, from Europe, several places. Currently, due to the pandemic for this year, the last one, the number of third country students from outside the European Union or outside Europe, broader speaking, dropped a bit, but we think it's going to pick up as soon as the conditions of the pandemic will calm down more and more over time. So there is a highly international program, which adds to the attractiveness, I think. We try to add to the core curriculum some extracurricular activities. For instance, we are part of a broader consortium conducting simulations on a yearly basis on European decision-making that is called Eurosim. It's basically a collaboration between a number of US colleges and universities and a number of European ones. And one year it is, the simulations are held in the US, next year in Europe, on a specific legislative proposal or foreign policy issue of the European Union. And around 200 students from European countries and the US come together to discuss this and to negotiate a proposal. Okay, that's just an example of extracurricular activities. We also organized 2 summer schools together with the University of Tokyo, Todai, the most important university in Japan. You might know we have also an exchange program so that you can, during your stay in Trier, have a semester in Tokyo at the best university available there. And I come back to these activities or these opportunities with regard to studies outside here in a moment. And so far, based on experience with the first who completed these studies, we think that this study program provides you with excellent job opportunities. Let me move on. So to give you an overview of the basic structure of this program, as you see, it is a 120.4 semester program, and the first semester gives you some overview over European politics and governance and East Asian politics and governance, a broader approach. Some students coming here have already previous teaching or experience with European topics, others with Chinese or East Asian topics, and to bring them to a certain extent on the same page. This first semester tries to provide a broad overview, including bringing them on the same page with regard to research techniques and methods. And then we go on with courses on European and East Asian political economy. And political economy issue that is due to the fields of specialization of those teaching in this program are quite prominent. They are not exclusive, but political economy issue, both domestic and international political economy, has a certain weight in the overall program. And then we are also dealing with international relations. You see 2 linked modules on global governance, giving a broader perspective, and then looking how the European Union and East Asia act in fields of global governance, be it environmental governance, trade, investment governance, international financial regulation, or security governance. And as I said, the program is policy oriented, hence we have a module on European public policies, and in the third semester, another one on European decision making, which is providing you with negotiation skills and also negotiation theory, and is linked to this international negotiation, which brings together American and European students once a year. Additionally, 1 European law module introducing you in the core of European Union law, and a second field of European law, which differs from year to year, which changes. Recently, we had European human rights law and European legal history as second part of this module to give you an idea on the content, the concrete one. And you have the option to do an internship, which might replace one of the modules in the third semester. And what is perhaps distinctive to our approach is that having 2 regions, we have very often the possibility to do comparisons of their institutions, of the ways they govern different key policy fields, of the ways they deal with current challenges in terms of global governance. And Another specificity perhaps of our program is that we are the teachers, the faculty members teaching that program, keenly interested in phenomena of disruptive and transformative changes, both in the field of economy and in politics and different policy fields. And so you see it's quite practically oriented, and this is also reflected in the teaching formats, the modules, especially Eurosim, where you are prepared to conduct negotiations, to acquire some negotiation skills and test them in a big simulation. And of course, the option to have an internship follows the same idea. We have a collaboration with a number of other partner institutions. I named already the University of Tokyo. We hope to be able to continue this cooperation into the future. And one specificity which is highly appreciated by students, according to our experience, is that we have a mentoring program, meaning incoming students after several weeks or a couple of months given a mentor who tries to guide them through the entire study program and who is there to give them advice in case they need advice in with regard to different key issues they have to face or problems they have to face. Okay, these are the faculty members that are teaching inside this program. From the political science part, I did not include the European law people because they change from semester to semester. So basically you have two specialists on China, outstanding specialists, Sebastian Heimann and Dirk Schmidt, who have textbooks on the market, both in German and English, on the political system of China, and also in German and English on foreign policy and foreign economic policy of China. And myself and Moritz Liebe, we are specialized in European Union studies. My field of specialization is Franco-German relations inside the European Union and political economy issues of the European Union. And Sascha Wertes, he's specializing in UN issues, in security and peace studies, and he's responsible for the global governance module. Why Trier University? Why shouldn't you pick another program with perhaps some related content in another town or another university? Let's first look at Trier. It's an interesting place. It's a smaller city, 100,000, a little bit more than 100,000 inhabitants. But it's the oldest city in Germany with a rich Roman heritage. And it has a university of 12,000 students right now. That means that it's not an anonymous, huge university. We know each other. That's a tremendous advantage of studying here in Trier. And our discipline, political science, we had a recent evaluation of Zentrum für Hochschulentwicklung, which is the most important university and discipline ranking in Germany. And we got excellent grades in terms of study atmosphere, in terms of the facilities here, and students gave us good rankings or good grades with regard to the quality of this study environment in political science at Trier University. Trier is a place located at the heart of Europe. That means that important European institutions are all nearby. Luxembourg is next door. Luxembourg City is 40 kilometers away from here. And you have, of course, the European Court of Justice there. You have the European Investment Bank. You have the European Court of Auditors located in Luxembourg. The European Stability Mechanism is located there. That means there are also internship opportunities around the corner. And Strasbourg is also not far away. And students in our program seize the opportunity of those locations nearby. Brussels is not far away. They do internships in the European Parliament. A student of mine just told me this week that she was accepted for a traineeship at the European Commission. Others have done internship at the European Court of Auditors recently, and so on. And you have Luxembourg as a very international place where you can find other job opportunities and internship opportunities as well in the financial industry and the big financial hub that Luxembourg represents. And Trier University, as I said, 12,000 students, is a nice place. That means we have a very green campus, as you might see on the pictures here. We bump always into each other because it's not an overcrowded campus, and you're going to know quite quickly a lot of people, not only inside your study program, but also from other disciplines. And that is, I think, a very strong advantage of studying in a mid-sized university. As others who presented their programs also mentioned, you have also options to study beyond Trier University. We have a very intense cooperation between universities of the so-called Greater Region, which is made up of our regional state, Rhineland-Pfalz, the state of Luxembourg, the Francophone part of Belgium, Wallonie, and Lorraine, the French region of Lorraine. So you can attend courses without very much administrative difficulties in these places as well. For instance, the University of Luxembourg has also a master program in European governance with related topics, at least on the European side. And some of the students seize the opportunity to take a course or two in Luxembourg as well. Beyond that, we have a broad network of Erasmus partners around Europe and some partners in the US and Canada, and mentioned Tokyo and other places as well. And a number of students really seize this opportunity to integrate one study year, now usually one study a semester abroad in another university. Okay, here I have some reports of their experience of two who completed of the first and second year students when we started our program. And as you see, they ended up as consultants and analysts in fields very close to their study program. Valerie Tan is working for the most important think tank, Mercator Institute for China Studies, most important think tank on China in Europe, which was founded, founding director was Sebastian Heilmann, who served as director of this institute for 5 years and is now came back to Trier to teach inside our program. Others who completed the program ended up in professional fields such as public relations, or also in big companies in Luxembourg, in financial industry, some ended up there. So you see, you have a broad field of opportunities of professional fields where you might be hired in the future after having completed this program. Entry requirements, as I said, we are a political science program at the core, so you need some political science background or closely related disciplines. You have to have at least something like 60 ECTS in order to get into this program. It's fully taught in English. You do not have to have German language skills. You have to have a good command of English, C1 level, and you have to have a minimal grade point average of 2.7 in order to be accepted for this program. You can find much more details on the program and fields of activity and the procedure, how to apply. Basically, with regard to application periods, for those of you coming from outside the European Union, it's the May of 22, which is important for you. It starts 1st May to the end of May, and we are only taking in students for the winter term. And those from the European Union have more time from early May to 15th of July. And Germans have even a little bit longer period for applying. And I added a QR code which links you directly to a specific homepage presenting in much more detail our program. And we would be happy to hear from you. And in case you have some specific question, ask them right now or use this email to send them to us. We're happy to answer them as soon as possible. Thank you for your attention, and I'm ready to ask whatever questions you might have.
Thank you, Professor, for this great presentation. Actually, we were reported that QR codes do really help because attendees can really scan them and see the page right away. Okay, let me share my screen one last time today. Last but not least, another wonderful speaker, Professor Dr. Ulrike Schultz, who is Program Director for MA International Social Sciences Development Studies, will be presenting today as well. And as always, we have the same combination of information on the slide. Again, the international outlook and the map of the university. So you decide where you go. And Professor, the floor is yours. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. I'm going to share my screen. Okay, thank you very much for the opportunity to talk about our small university and our big program compared to other programs in our university. I just give you the picture to show you that our university is in a forest and it's a campus university. So the students, most of the students also live on campus. So I want to introduce you in the program International Social Science that is called Up to Now. We are running this program for about 12 years, but for the next accreditation, we will going to change to call it development studies, because that's what it really is. And our students would benefit from this title. It's called International Social Science because it has a tradition of being something like international social work in the past, but now it was somehow changed in a kind of a development studies program. I would like to give you a short introduction about Friedensau and the university because it's very special. It's a small private university which was founded in 1899 from the Adventist Church for their pastors. And it's still run by the Seventh-day Adventist Church, which is a very special thing in the German context. It was state recognized in 1990, and all our programs are also accredited. But we are a private university, which also means that we have some study fees. So I'm coming back to this later. The program I'm talking about is a program, I call it now development studies, because it will be very soon named like this. And I want to introduce you into this study program now. Our program is full-time, it's on campus. It takes 2 years, and it prepares students to work in the field of development cooperation. Most of our students come from countries from the global south, and this is what I was teaching this kind of field before in the Free University or in the University of Bochum. And what I really appreciate is most of our students come from the global south. They come from so-called development countries, and it's really interesting for us and for students from Germany, who we also part of our study programs usually, to study this topic with students from the global south, which are really framed as people from this kind of nations. So at the moment, we have about 90 students in this program, and we have 17 countries. They come from 17 different countries. At the moment, we have a lot of people from Sub-Saharan Africa, but we had a big group from students from Myanmar, so it's always a bit shifting, but generally it's very diverse, our student group. We also offer this program now since last year as a part-time program online for students, for people who want to professionalize themselves, working for NGOs, local NGOs, smaller NGOs, or even from UN organizations, but never did a proper study in development. So they are going to professionalize themselves, and we also offer this now on our campus online. Maybe just to come to the objectives and the content of the program. So our focus is really on development studies, but our vision or idea is that development is an issue of global justice. So it's about theories on development. It's also about the practical realities of development aid or industry. So we also have a bit of a critical post-colonial perspective. We also want to include more literature from people from the global south. But we also want our students to be able to take part in the discourse on development, but also to prepare them for the work in development organizations. Every student is doing an internship for 2 months. So now, since 2 years, we're also an Erasmus university. So some students also do this in an Erasmus program. We also offer some special internships which take a bit longer and people are paid well. This is also a new thing. So the master prepares for this practice, for being a practitioner in the field of development, but it also prepares, and this is also one of our main focus for an academic, not career, but also some of our students also do a PhD. So we also have a research-oriented curriculum also. So we try to combine these two things. So we have a lot of research methods, on writing papers. A lot of papers have to be written during the 2 years, which some students don't like, but I think it's good for them. So it prepares for a practical career for development through its emphasis on participatory planning also. So they also plan a project during the 2 years. They also do a field trip in which they collect data for planning a project. And usually our students go to Eastern Europe for the southeastern routes. They went to Bosnia, to Serbia, to Albania. And so our students go as a group and then they do a kind of a needs assessment and develop a project, which is nice because most of the students come from Africa. So we turn it around and African students go to Europe to start a development project. We also have another class in disaster management. You can see the program structure, which is maybe interesting also to know that we start in winter and summer semester, because our students, in many cases, they struggle with visa and they get delayed. And so we decided to have every 6 months an intake, so people they can still come even if they get this problem with visa. You can see the structure. I think it's just a general, a very typical development studies program with development theories. This is in the introduction to development studies. It's a module on poverty, a module on, we have some part on peace and conflict. We also have a module in public health. It's an internship. And the students, here's the one for the winter summer semester, but I think they shift to the electives, but they also can choose some elective. And this is also what we want to extend this possibility to specialize or concentrate. And in the moment they can concentrate in 3 fields: gender and intersectionality and development. This is also a kind of gender and modules, but also on the question of diversity management, but also intersectionality. We also have a specialization on sustainable and resource use, and one on migration and forced migration. Okay, just to make it everything on one slide. The admission requirements first. You need a bachelor degree in social science, humanities, or other related fields. What we also accept is somebody who has a bachelor in a different field, but worked in an NGO in the field of development coordination. So people can write a motivation letter and explain their professional background, and then we also can admit them to the program. You need an English proficiency test. I think it's something like between B2 and C1. What we have some different, for every test, a different number of points we need, or bachelor degree taught in English. The program takes 4 semesters and 2 years. As I said already, I spoke already about the intake in winter and summer. We have a higher fee than other universities because we are private. So our students pay 2,580 per semester. But we have scholarships available, which you can apply. You can also apply. We also have some scholarships for people from the beginning. They can apply before they get admitted. And we also have the possibility, because it's a campus university, that students can do jobs. Yeah, so many students finance themselves like this. It's quite cheap to live on the campus. So if you think you have to get an apartment in Berlin or in Friedensau, it's much cheaper. The application deadline for January, for the winter semesters in January already, and for the summer semester in August before. But if you don't need a visa, you can also apply later. Yeah, but many of our students need a visa, and this takes a long time. So if they get admitted in January, they make it for October. But if they get admitted in April or May, they don't make it for October. Okay, coming to the internship. Students do it in NGOs, and it's interesting for them if they do it in Germany to be on the side of donors and work with the so-called implementing offices in their own countries, or they go back to their home countries, or the German students get experience in countries in the global south and work for local NGOs. Most of our students work in smaller organizations. Yeah, we also have some who go maybe to the GIZ or to an organization, but usually they go to smaller universities, organization, because it's also a matter of access. Yeah, and I think it's something which we all have to critically reflect in our program. Who has access to what kind of field, to what kind of internships and professional and jobs? Some go also in the field of humanitarian aid. Some go to the Adventist, which is a bit easier for them to get. It's called ADRA, the Adventist NGO, but they are to all kinds of NGOs. And we have now students who work with their internship in social work in Germany. They want this, and it's interesting for them. And we also discuss now in development studies that the relationship to social work. So they also do, some of them are also doing it in the Red Cross or in any other social work place in Germany. I just have a list of some master theses. So we are really focused on the master thesis and the research. So we have a very good team of supervisors and people working here now. And I think that's also one of our strengths to accompany, to help students support them in doing academic work. Our alumni, many of them are employed in NGOs. Some of them also started in academic career. Our program is now we have it since 12 or 13 years. I'm here for 12 years, so I can see how they grow up. And some of them are did their PhD in Germany. We have employed one of our former alumni as a postdoc now. He comes from Ghana. And so we also get more diverse as a staff, which is very nice and very good for our program. Some end up somewhere else, yeah. So we have somebody in the mining industry, some student to business. I think that's also our world today. Not everybody gets a job in this field, or you get a job and it's not paid well if you go back to your home country and you work for a local NGO. But many of our students, they make it somehow that they have a good opportunity. Sometimes some students take long before they get their first employment. We try to support them after, but there are also some limitations. But what is a new trend is that some people stay in Germany and work in the care work or in the social work field. So they also get the opportunity during the 2 years to learn German in the university. They don't need to do it. But as we have a German course in our German kind of department, which is teaching German in our universities, they can also learn German. What we do, what is very important for us, we invite people who are interested to come to the campus and stay with us for a week and take part in the program. And they don't pay for anything. They even get free accommodation. Nowadays, you can also do it online because we also have an online master. So if you are interested in our program, just write to us, and we can organize a taster week, or we call it in German Schnupperstudio. Okay, that's all about the program, and I'm really looking forward meeting you in Friedensau. And if you have any questions, you can write. You can also write to me. You can provide my email, and I can either connect you to some other people who can give you more information, or can also answer directly. Thank you very much.
Thank you very, very much. It was really interesting. And as a former student or just graduated, I'm convinced to apply to all of the programs again and study all the things that were mentioned today. I'm really biased today, I admit it, but it's really interesting for me. So what can I do? All right, let me sum up, or because
I have to stop sharing. Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. So we are already over time, and let's keep things short. For those who are asking about the entrance qualification or some prerequisites to enter the master's programs, all the links were shared in a chat. All the links are available on our page. Upon request, reach us anytime, and we will send you the course links, study finder links, anything you like. Because I don't want to make professors and our special guests to repeat everything that was already sent about the requirements. However, 2 questions maybe, which may be relevant to all of you. First, is it okay to apply to a master's program not with bachelor's diploma, because the GPA was lower probably, but with another master's diploma? So anyone who can start, please.
Yes, can I start?
Yes, of course, thank you.
In our university, many apply with a master, yeah, because they come from universities which maybe they have a good foundation, but the masters are not recognized, or they want to go in another field. Yeah, so we have a lot of students who already have a master. Some come from business administration and want to go to the development studies, or they worked already in a development organization, and now they want to become professionalized in the field of development. We have a lot of cases like this.
Thank you.
Maybe just to add from our side is that we don't look necessarily at the GPA score. What is of most interest for us is the social protection experience. Like we said, is that capacity building is quite a fundamental aspect of the program. So if we have someone as a chief director in a government office and says, I'm going to take up the program, you can't turn him down because their GPA is 3 point whatever. So that's one of the things that we look at as a social protection experience as compared to the GPA. But obviously for the DAD scholarship, you would need a GPA that is of a higher level. Yeah.
All right.
Yes, maybe I can also add that we have a lot of applicants, I would say at least half of them, who already have a master program, but some only have a 1-year master program and want to add another 1-year program for our 1-year programs. And others just change field or search for specialization. We usually also have 1 or 2 who have already a PhD, but in a different field, and they want to combine this. So that's perfectly fine for us.
Yeah, same here at the Catholic University. We have a few applicants that already have a master's degree, or applicants that have even a PhD. That is, of course, no limit to applying for the MA.
Yeah, so we usually get questions like, should I show the first diploma or the second diploma? What is the best, where I have the best GPA, or does it matter the degree or the title that I already have? So thank you for clarifying it. And last for today, because I don't want to take your whole evening, at least in Germany, some of you mentioned the internships and also some organizations with which you have cooperation. And their question was from Facebook actually, does being part of your program help to get into an internship, or a student has to search for an internship him or herself and go through the application alone, or does he or she get any assistance? Thank you.
So in our program, we give assistance in a way that we have an internship colloquium before people apply. So, and we have some contacts. Yeah, we also try to that the senior students can also, or alumni. We also have an alumni network. They help our students also. We also have an institute for evaluation. They also help, but we can't connect every student to an internship. That's what we don't do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe from our perspective, we also have a dedicated person that provides career guidance. So that also helps in terms of like just trying to provide the background setup in terms of applying for internships. But mainly it is driven by students' interests. We don't encourage saying you should be doing an internship here, but I think there should be a match between these, as well as we do have organizations that they take interns from us on a yearly basis, but a lot of the times, especially at some of the higher organizations, the international organizations, it's on a competitive basis. So the students are forced to enter the competitive market, and we just support them in that respect.
Thank you.
For us, we do provide internship spaces, but the students don't have to take up the opportunity. So if they want to go somewhere else, they can do so. For example, applying at political institutions. But if they want to do it at one of our cooperation partners, we have enough slots for everybody.
Yeah, at the KU, as I said, the internship is done in Colombia, and our coordinator of the program over there is connected to a lot of organizations on the ground who are happy to receive interns from Germany or from a German program. Nevertheless, students are encouraged to search for themselves respective their interests and find the placement that fits best to their prospects and desires.
Thank you. So with this, I will conclude because already feel ashamed of holding you so long today. But dear attendees, thank you very much for your staying with us. And as you saw, all the guest speakers are very friendly and very welcome, and they will be happy to answer your questions. If you need help in getting in touch with them, please feel free to contact us, and we will maybe readdress your questions or provide kind of assistance, maybe get the answers from them and reply to you. So I promise I will be in charge of that, because I'm, again, really interested in those programs, and I encourage you to apply, because political science, social science, they are really nice, and go for it. So right now, I hope everyone enjoyed the webinar, the speakers, the attendees. Sibey, thank you very much for moderation. It's always great to have you as a moderator. And I wish you all a wonderful time of the day wherever you are here in Germany. Everyone have a great evening, and thank you again for your time and for your presence here. So bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you. Cheers.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.